All right, so today we are talking about expected value. And one of the main things I taught you about expected value in the past was to never expect to get the expected value. Because it's an average of, if you tried this like 1,000 times, here's what you get. What I want you to do is just think for a second and about gut feeling on whether or not this would be a good deal. At my son's graduation party in Orono, they're going to have different casino games available that they can play for fun. And they can, win like imaginary bucks that can be used at that party. So anyway, if there was a game like this, would it be a smart buy? With these imaginary like Monopoly money, you can pay $10 to play this game, where you roll 2 dice, and when you roll the 2 dice, if you get, actually no, it's a single die, great big foam single die. You roll this die. If you get a 6, you get $100. Bottom line is that seemed like a good deal if you pay 10 Monopoly dollars, and if you get a 6, you're going to get 100 Monopoly dollars. Good deal or not? All right. What's the expected value? What should you expect to get if you play this game over and over and over again? On average, what's it really worth to play that game?
160.
And you're using a probability there. That's cool because that's right. You want to do the probability times the amount you're going to get. What's the probability of it happening? 1 in 6. What's the amount you're going to get if it does happen? 100 Monopoly dollars. And final answer then is 1/6 of 100. What is that?
More than 10.
$16.67. And yeah, you're make a good point. All you really need to know was that it's more than $10 is your value. Because you're going to have to subtract off, you have to pay $10 to play. But should you really expect to make $6.67 every time you play? No. You'll never get the actual expected value. You'll either get $100 or you won't get anything. On average, though, you should make $6.67. All right, because that's the P times the A, and then you add them all up. All right, I want to do another one that involves a little more of a chart. On this one, I'd like you to open your iPad up and draw this chart with me. It's going to be one of these kind of deals. Make me one just like this. This is where you're going to flip the heads and tails, flip a coin, a total of 4 times. The first flip goes something like this. Put heads on top, tails on the bottom. And let's say that it's a loaded coin, meaning that it's going to come up heads more often than normal. Let's say it's a 60-40. I want you to complete the rest of this chart then, so that we'll have the probability of getting heads, heads, to heads, tails, then tails, heads, and then tails, tails. Finish that chart, and then I'll show you how you could use expected value with a chart like this. Okay, so hopefully you said that this was a 0.6, 0.4, 0.6, 0.4. Multiply them out, excuse me. Stop talking now. Shh, excuse me. All right, 36, 28, 24, sorry, and 16. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. Now that's the probabilities. Now what's the amount? The amount you get, well, it depends on how you set up the game. Maybe in this game, you get paid every time you get a heads, you get $1. And every time you get tails, let's make the amounts bigger because at this casino night in Orono, I'm sure the amounts will be bigger than $1. Let's say that you get $10 for every heads, and let's say that you get $5 for every tails. $10 for each heads, $5 for each tails. Now, if you're only going to have to pay like $2 to play, it's a no-brainer. You're going to make tons of money. But what I want to know is, what will you make on average, or what's the expected value? So then, this one is heads, heads, right? How much is that one going to be worth? You'll get $20 for that one. Okay, figure out the rest of the numbers, add them all up, multiply them out, add them all up, see what that game's worth to play. Each heads is worth 10, tails is worth 5. Oops, sorry. Yes. All right. For this one, it was heads, tails. So this one, you're going to get 15 bucks for. But only happens 0.24 of the time, so to speak. This one is also a tails, heads. It's the same as heads, tails, right? So that's also worth 15 bucks. And this last one, tails, tails, is only worth 5, and 5 makes 10 bucks. All right. So now, what's this game worth? It's P times A, which we just did. You have to do this times this, and then get an answer. And add to this times this, get an answer, add them all up at the grand total. What was it worth at the end? Raise your hand if you think you have the answer. Several people. What did you say? $16 even? All right. Who else has 16 bucks? All right. Awesome. Nice work, everybody that's got their hand up. You were faster than the other people, at least. And again, that was this times this, and this times this, and this times this, and this times this, and you add them all up. No, that's a good question. The expected value is what you would win. And yes, you do have to factor in the cost of playing. So far, this is what it's worth to play, which is different. That's what it's worth to play. And so you're right. To get the expected value, I think I threw that word in too early. Now we subtract off, it costs $2 to play. You will probably make $14 every time you play the game. And of course, these casino games are rigged to try to make the kids actually make money to make it more fun. You know what I'm saying? At a normal casino, it's exactly rigged the opposite way. Even though sometimes people win big, on average they lose. This kind of a night, they're trying to make it more fun. So, all right, expected value then is this one. This is the fair value, and they're different. And I think this is an important number to figure out. What's the fair value of the thing? All right. Have you seen or heard of at least the lottery? I have a real lottery ticket. I thought this would make it more interesting. So it cost me $2 out of my life to get, and so it's $2 to get this here Powerball ticket. All right. Now I'm going to talk you through how I should figure out what the expected value is of this thing. Okay. I'd like you to Google expected value, no, not expected value, sorry, the probability of winning Powerball. I got a funny link to show you in a minute, but first of all, why don't you just Google expected value of, not expected value, probability of winning Powerball.
Okay, I'm just going to
if you find, excuse me, raise your hand if you want to say something. All right, we have found it. What's the probability of winning the Powerball? 1 out of, very good. Keep going. 510 at the end? All right. That is not very likely. Okay, now, to be specific how unlikely it is, there is a funny list of things that are more likely to happen to you than winning the lottery. And I have put it on Schoology. If you go to Schoology, look under assignment for today. The very top one, I tried to force it to be top. I think I figured out how to do that now. Look under assignments and see if you see one there.
Is it the USA Today?
It's like that. You're going to have to be in Schoology in a minute anyway to get your homework, so you're not wasting time. Get in Schoology. Do you see it yet? What does it say? You're not likely to win the lottery. Yes, that one. Okay, and then click on the link. And I'm hoping that I don't have technical difficulties with that link, which is possible. Did it work? All right, so why are we doing this? Because I want to talk about expected value of a lottery ticket. Expected value is P times A, and then you add them up. Here's a probability. What's the amount I get if I win? Actually, right now, the lottery is on the lottery website. Those of you that were at the lottery website, how much is the Powerball up to right this second? It was like 350 million or something like that.
Wow.
It is a pretty high one. What's it at? I'm going to go with the 350 million because that's what it said today, and I know it goes up like practically every minute. Yep, because every time somebody buys another ticket, this is the guaranteed. It's going to be at least 350, and then if more people buy tickets, it goes up. So this is in millions. So there's your P times the A, and then you add them all up. Well, there's only one thing to add. So take that times that, and I think you're going to find that it's just a smidgen under $2. Go ahead and give that a shot. Use your calculator. You're multiplying those two gigantic numbers together. Okay. When you multiply these, when the rounding ends up happening, it's $2. What did we just figure out?
That is.
What's that value? That's the expected value. So in other words, this is one of those magical moments where a lottery ticket is actually worth what you pay for it. Does that mean it's a great idea and you should like invest your entire life savings in lottery tickets right now?
Zero or nothing.
No, because your probability of winning is still this. You're more likely probably to be picked by President Obama as to two people in the United States that he just randomly grabbed out of a phone book. Okay, but it is expected value-wise about a fair deal, so to speak. Normally, when you buy a lottery ticket, your expected value is that you're going to lose a lot of your $2. Usually more like $1 out of your $2 is pretty much a guaranteed loss. So, anyway, that's expected value from a real-world perspective. And if I win, I'll throw a big party. Okay, let's move on. On the homework, you're going to find expected value questions that have to do with what are they called? Warranties.
Oh.
So everybody shut your iPads and pay attention to this for just a second. iPad shut. Some of you are not shut yet. Thank you. All right. So expected value of a warranty. There's two things that could happen. It's either going to work or the thing's going to break. I did a little pre-research for you, and it's $99 to buy AppleCare for an iPad. iPads work most of the time, but I'd like to do just a real quick reminder of how this works, and then I'm going to actually have you look for the real-world numbers. This is the probability it's going to work and the probability it's going to break, times the amount you're get if it's going to work and the amount you're going to get if it breaks. Now think about it. If your iPad works, does Apple say, here's more money? No. So if it works, you're going to get nothing. And that's the cool part. If you multiply by 0, it doesn't even matter what the probability is here. It's going to be 0. What we need is this one right here. What's the probability it's going to break? I want you to give me your best guess, and then I'll tell you what the research says. I want you to write down a percent that you think is a likely percent chance your iPad's going to break in the next 2 years, because that's how long the warranty lasts. Because you're going to throw it against the wall? Good question. If they'll cover either a glitch, like it just stops like working because of software issues, or they'll also cover breakage, not the kind of breakage like you throw it on the ground. Okay, that kind of breakage. They'll do that on there's special things for your phones you can buy that cover accidental breakage, but I'm pretty sure the $99 one doesn't cover that, but I'm not positive. Okay, I think we need to find out. Let's do some research. Go to apple.com. Find out if does AppleCare cover breakage or not. So see how fast you can find Apple Care under the Apple website.
Thank you for giving me the app down. Oh, that's a lot of people.
One thing you will not find on the Apple website, I guarantee you,
It's going.
is, no, I think they're just trying to suck you in on that one. The break number, and I'm going to give it to you as 20% break. 80% will work. If 20% of them break over that first 2 years, we're going to use that number. But we need to know now, I'm just curious, is would it cover accidental breakage like you drop your iPad, screen cracks? Is that covered under Apple Care or not? Find it. It doesn't list that? Give me some things that it lists. Hardware defects. Okay, so that would mean like they built it with a defect in the hardware. Like maybe...
It's called iOS.
I'm pretty sure you automatically get some type of insurance where, like, if they did
If you
something wrong,
download the...
you
Right, if it's... That's true in the first year.
buy a thing because it's you.
Look at...
So if you don't behave
Yeah, I know.
All insurance policies, though, cover certain things and they don't cover certain things. So there's... Yes, you got something? Is this go on the iPad or just the iPhone? Okay, read that sentence one more time. Just the part about accidental. Up to 2 accidents, incidents of accidental damage. Okay, and that does have a $50 deductible. That's more complicated than we would give you, so I'm going to throw out that $50 deductible part. But yeah, turns out if you break the thing, it's covered for 2 times. You're not going to do that, so just give up. They're trying to suck you in with an advertisement, and that's okay. All right. Moving on. This break is the one we have to actually calculate because times by 0 isn't going to do anything. So 20% chance of breaking times 99. No, they're not going to give you $99. What are they going to give you if it breaks? A new iPad, which is worth $500. Now we could talk about that for a second. Shut your iPads. I know. That's why I want you to shut your iPad. All right. So if they give you a $500 iPad, does that really cost them $500?
No, they make it for cheap.
Yeah, they make it for cheaper than that at Apple. They don't like make iPads that cost $500 and then sell them for $500. They don't make money that way. It costs them like $350 to make one. So do you get how they actually make money on that deal? Because they're not giving you a $500 thing, but yet you're getting something that to you is worth $500. All right. The other thing is they take your broken iPad. Listen. They take your broken iPad and what do with that? Just throw it away? No, they fix it up and they sell it as a refurbished one. And so they can sell it for like $400 after they fix it. So see how it doesn't cost them the $500? All right. So when you actually multiply this out, 0.20 times the 500 is $100. What does that mean? If you add up P times the A, which here is 0, and you add them up, you get 100. What is that? That's the value of the warranty. Is that what they actually charge? No. They actually charge $99. So what is this dollar? What is the $1 here that is left? That's not what they make. That's what you make, actually. By buying the warranty, it actually, in this scenario that where we have 20% of them breaking, and the cost meaning like you get something worth $500. Now, you can argue this a lot of different ways. That your value isn't really this. Your value is more that they will give you this repair for free. Because if you just took your iPad and repaired it, you could argue that all I really needed was a $100 repair of my screen, not a $500 iPad. So we're trying to simplify this a lot, and if you go into the real world, it can get much more complicated. You got to include deductibles and all that stuff. But this is the way we would ask you to do one. All right, now you have a fair amount of time, and your review today it should have been pretty much review. We've done these before. In Schoology, you're going to find your homework, and it is longish. I decided that it was more reasonable that you do problems 1 through 8 for today. So you can skip the last few, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's a fair number of problems off. In turn, I expect you to have it all done tomorrow. So get your iPad going to Schoology. I'll come around and check in just a minute that you're where you're supposed to be. And I want you doing problems 1 through 8. Okay? That's all I got for you for right now.